continue our learning about Bloom's taxonomy. We talked about levels 1 and 2, 2 different days. We're now moving on to application. Application is simply when you connect the book with life, the world, or other literature. You're familiar with this, right? Right? Anytime you've been connecting, you've been actually doing third level Bloom's. Okay? So, I know something in the book, I know what's happening, I understand the book, and I can apply the book to other things in the world. Does that make sense? You kind of have to have these two levels to do this level. Again, usually, depending on what you're connecting. If, in this book, she has a brother, and you say, well, I have a brother, that's a connection. That's a pretty weak connection. We're looking for things that are deeper than just, oh, she has a brother, I have a brother too. I didn't like strain my brain to figure that out. I didn't really have to think about it to figure that out, Dylan. I just didn't have to much thinking. You need to try to use both levels to get to application. Okay, so today is the day that I need to read Tar-Beach to you. We already have read Tar-Beach, so I'm going to kind of fly through it. And then I'm going to give you some application examples that are a little bit deeper thinking. Not just, oh, she has a brother, I have a brother too. Or, oh, she has a roof on her house, I have a roof on my house. Okay, that's pretty, kind of like first grade stuff again. Maybe second grade. Alright, so this is Tar-Beach again by Faith Ringgold. Maybe you'll understand a little bit better since you're hearing it the second time. I will always remember when the stars fell down around me and lifted me up above the George Washington Bridge. I could see our tiny rooftop with Mommy and Daddy and Mr. and Mrs. Honey, our next door neighbors, still playing cards as if nothing was going on. And BB, my baby brother, lying real still on the mattress, just like I told him to, his eyes like huge floodlights tracking me through the sky. Sleeping on Tar-Beach is magical. Lying on the roof in the night with stars and skyscraper buildings all around me made me feel rich, like I owned all that I could see. The bridge was my most prized possession. Daddy said that the George Washington Bridge is the longest and most beautiful bridge in the world, and that it opened in 1931, on the very day I was born. Daddy worked on that bridge, hoisting cables. Since then, I've wanted that bridge to be mine. Now I have claimed it. All I had to do was fly over it for it to be mine forever. I can wear it like a giant diamond necklace. Having trouble talking today. Or just fly above it and marvel at its sparkling beauty. I can fly. Yes, fly. Me, Cassie Louise Lightfoot, only 8 years old and in the 3rd grade, and I can fly. That means I am free to go wherever I want for the rest of my life. Daddy took me to see the new Union building he's working on. He can walk on steel girders high up in the sky and not fall. They call him the cat. But he still can't join the Union because Grandpa wasn't a member. Well, Daddy's going to own that building, so I'm going to fly over and give it to him. Then it won't matter that he's not in their old union, or whether he's colored or a half-breed Indian like they say. You hear some prejudice in there? Are you out there? He'll be rich and won't have to stand on a 24-story high girders and look down. He can look at his building going up. And Mommy won't cry all winter when he goes to look for work and doesn't come home. And Mommy can laugh and sleep late like Mrs. Honey. And we can have ice cream every night for dessert. Next, I'm going to fly over the ice cream factory just to make sure we do. Tonight, we're going to Tar-Beach. Mommy is roasting peanuts and frying chicken. And Daddy will bring home a watermelon. Mr. and Mrs. Honey will bring the beer and their old green card table. And then the stars will fall around me and I will fly to the Union building. I'll take BB with me. He has threatened to tell Mommy and Daddy if I leave him behind. I have told him it's very easy, anyone can fly. All you need is somewhere to go that you can't get to any other way. The next thing you know, you're flying among the stars. know, you're really going to need to put those away. Hopefully you heard some of what the book was. Okay, so knowledge level, again, would be, the main character is, what's her name? Louise Lightfoot. I remember the middle and last name. Cassie is a character. Brother Evie. She can fly. Okay. Here, I can understand that she's not really flying. She's dreaming about flying because she's kind of stuck in her world. That's kind of a hard world. And so she's having these dreams about flying, which is good. Even deeper than that is I can make some connections with other books. And I'm not talking about simple connections, okay? If you look here on a few pages in, she talks about becoming rich.
Common sense tells me not to do it.
Right here. Well, here it talks about her being rich. Sleeping on Tar Beach was magical. Lying on a roof in the night with stars and skyscraper buildings all around me made me feel rich, like I owned all that I could see. I have a connection to when I was in college on this page because Cassie doesn't really own that much. Are you understanding that? She doesn't really own that much. I understand she doesn't really own that much. She wishes she could be rich. And so when she's up on the rooftop looking all around her, she can almost picture herself owning everything. When I was in college, it kind of cost a lot of money to go there. And I didn't really have that much money to go there. You have to take out loans, and you have to borrow money, and you have to try to get scholarships. But when you're in college, you kind of have this outlook like, someday you'll be able to do whatever you want because you're in college getting ready to get your degree. And so you have that bright outlook about that. And so I can kind of relate to how she was feeling here, looking out at all the buildings, pretending she could be rich. Kind of like that in college when you're looking into your future saying, wow, one day I'm going to do that or do this or do this. Okay? And pretending that I can be rich. Pretending I can be a doctor or be an astronaut or be a whatever because I'm taking the steps to do that. Can you kind of see that connection I'm talking about? A little bit deeper than just she has a brother. Get it? Okay. I have another one here that I wrote down. It says she was born in 1931 on the very day she was born. There's a connection from this date, not in my life, back in history. Back in history in the 1930s and 40s is when equal rights was a big issue. Not everyone had the same rights. Okay? The blacks had different things they could do than the whites, and they had different buildings and different potties and different schools. Okay, so she was feeling a lot of this pressure, a lot of this separation in her life. When she talks about her dad, he wasn't allowed to be in the union, but all the other people probably were, was that time period of the separation. So I can connect that time period of her birth in with history. Wherever that said she was 1931, I think I already passed it. Okay, so application is basically that. When you're connecting it, but not, I would love to have all your eyeballs up here. I'm sorry if I'm making you really bored, but I really need you right now, okay? In the last 3 years I've taught this unit, that's the biggest problem I get from 5th graders is connection. They just try to connect it with something really easy peasy, okay? It's the 3rd level down. So it needs to be something that's deeper than just surface level. Okay, you shouldn't be able to pop the book open and say, oh look, she's flying, I saw a bird flying earlier today, I'm good. You need to understand the text and really dig into it to connect it to something that's happened in your life or that's happened in the world or that's happened in another book. Does that make sense? If you're writing simple connections, which you will be writing connections, if you're writing simple connections, I'm going to ask you to redo them. Okay? So today I'm going to read a little bit of Journey. You're going to write one sticky, but I want you to wait until I'm all the way done with Journey. Like at the very end of my chapter or whatever. And then I want you to reflect upon what you've listened to, the whole book thus far. So maybe chapters 1 through wherever we end up at. and see if there's a way that you can find a connection with the book on a deeper level than just Journey's a boy, I'm a boy too, or something like that. Okay, so we're going to try it now.